Hello, and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Joke Rogers at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by Vincent McCurry from the Voice of America in Washington, D.C.
Well, thanks. I'm Vincent McCurry at the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Joke Rogers in Lagos brings you that story.
As part of activities to mark his 1 year in office, the Ebonyi State Governor, Francis Nwifuru, has been inspecting completed and ongoing projects across the state, promising that his administration is committed to the People's Charter of Needs.
The Ebonyi State Governor, in company of the Deputy Governor, lawmakers from the State House of Assembly, other government officials, and critical stakeholders are on a project inspection tour within the state. The projects include the reconstruction of Wilberforce Chuba Okadigbo International Airport runway, Ogbaga at Mofe Road, Ebonyi State Pipe Production Company, and some housing estates. At the Wilberforce Chuba Okadigbo International Airport on Weke, the governor gives details on the cost of the project as he expresses satisfaction with the quality of work on the runway and charges the contractor to keep his promise of completing the project within the next 10 days.
What we've seen, definitely, as far as I'm concerned, I am very much confident that the contractor will complete the work with a very high quality. The contractor is doing exceptionally well because I must praise them. The quality and the quantity of asphalt, the thickness, is beyond what we agreed on earlier because they wanted to regulate it to be of international standards.
The state governor also commissioned completed road projects.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
The governor then visited the Ebonyi State pipe industry, inspected the ongoing housing estate for Ameza and Izo communities at Ezilo in Ishielu local government area, and the building of 39 model secondary schools across the state.
Joining us to discuss infrastructure development in Ebonyi State is the Commissioner for Information and State Orientation, Jude Ofo. Thanks for joining us on Africa 54.
Thank you very much.
So tell us more about the People's Charter of Needs that your administration is committed to fulfilling.
Democracy world over is known as the government of the people, by the people and for the people. The manifesto of His Excellency Right of the Party, extend the People's Charter of Needs, is drawn from this concept of democracy. Democracy is meant to serve the purpose of the people. And that is why His Excellency found it very expedient to anchor his manifesto on the needs of the people, on what the people want. Because governance is supposed to be, people is supposed to be the driving seat of governance. Because the leader and the governor, or whoever is elected into elective office, is only the mandate of the people. So that is why His Excellency, anchored his manifesto on the people's charter. It means that whatsoever his government, his leadership is going to bring to the table will be drawn from the needs of the people of Ebonyi State. That's why in the past 1 year, before the commencement of activities, he commissioned a visit of all the local governments to actually have a need assessment of what the people want in each locality. So that is why in the past 1 month, all that have been done in all the sectors, health, education, infrastructure, agriculture, are actually what the people of Ebonyi State need. That is the basic principle of the People's Charter of Needs.
So one of the projects that the state government is, onto now is the revitalization of the Ebonyi State Pipe Production Company, which aligns with the administration's goals to industrialize the state and create employment opportunities. Give us an update on this.
The fire production company is a company that came into existence over a decade ago. But in the past 80 years, it was actually, run down. And when the governor came on board, being part of his vision, he provided all the enablement to the ministry in charge of that, company. And before now, they had a 5 production line. But His Excellency has also added 2 new production lines. And efforts are also in top gear to include the production line and widen all that variety of products in that company, in that production plant. Like the HDP pipe, those pipes that will be carrying hot water and, all the bends and joints that needed, in the pipe industry are also in the offing. That this plant will also, produce them. In fact, it's going to be the hub of industrial activities centered around pipe production plant. Other areas, the building material industry, is also receiving every attention to bring it back to life. And there is also the angle of waste to wealth. Waste to wealth, where the government is also perfecting arrangement to bring to life the recycling plant. In fact, in the next couple of weeks, the recycling plant, the machine will be delivered. They got a sorting machine and the provision machine have already been, fixed. So the intention of the government is that in the next couple of years, residents of the state will be selling their waste to provide the required, inputs, raw material for this plant. And the other is a state that is blessed with enormous mineral resources. The lead, the zinc, the limestone, and these are materials. Recently, the government, paid for a license for lignite. There are a lot of areas the administration of the governor is looking at to ensure the full industrialization of the state.
And, these are laudable projects and initiatives that the state government is embarking on. So where's the balance with the need to provide infrastructure developments with the social amenities that the communities, need?
Yes, one good aspect of this administration is that when he came on board, he said he's not going to run this administration on the borrowing. He's not going to borrow a time for the period of this administration. He said if the resources available to the state is judiciously managed, that every sector in the administration, in the governance of the state will receive equal and commensurate attention, even though there are areas that are priority areas. Now, in terms of human capital development, let me tell you that Ebonians have never had it this good. Since the creation of the state, civil servants that have retired have never received their gratuity. This is an area every leadership of the state in the past have tried to avoid, because this is an area you sunk a lot of money and it's only who will not see physically. But being a very passionate, very compassionate governor, he knows that most of these retired civil servants, the senior citizens of the state, going through a lot. And billions of naira were sunk into the payment of gratuities. And civil servants in the state are also receiving their own attention. In fact, if you ask the leadership of Labour, DUC, and every civil servant on the street of Ebonyi State, they will tell you that this is the most welfareist administration since the creation of the state. Even though the government is doing a lot in terms of the welfare of the citizens of the state is not also being relegated to the background. So it is a complete package. The People's Structure of Need Manifesto is a complete package, an encompassment of a vehicle that is poised to deliver democratic dividend to the people of the state. So no area has been left,
Right, Commissioner for Information and State Orientation in Ebonyi State, Mr. Jude Okpo, thank you for your time today.
Pleasure for having me here. Thank you very much.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. After the break, a new report by Human Rights Watch calls for an arms embargo on Sudan amid ongoing ethnic cleansing in Darfur. Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. A new report by Human Rights Watch has called on the United Nations and African Union to place an arms embargo on Sudan amid ongoing ethnic cleansing in Darfur. Henry Wilkins speaks to the author of the report, who says the response by the international community has been disappointing.
A May 9th report by Human Rights Watch details what it says is the ongoing ethnic cleansing being carried out by the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, and its allied militants in the Darfur region of Sudan. The report says the RSF, an ethnic Arab paramilitary group, has targeted the non-Arab Masalit people, killing thousands, although the report did not specify how many. The UN says about 8.8 million people have fled their homes in Sudan since the fighting broke out in April of last year. The report calls on the United Nations and the African Union to implement an arms embargo on Sudan to help prevent further violence.
There are many lessons learned that the international regional community seems not to grasp or move forward into action to prevent further atrocities. We've been raising the alarm bell, even, as I mentioned, from 2020 onward, on the ongoing attacks on civilians. And we haven't seen a proper response from the international community.
Osman says neither the UN nor the African Union had acted on the report.
But so far, we haven't seen any movement or response from these entities towards the recommendations that we provided.
The African Union did not respond to VOA's request for an interview, nor did the Office of the UN Secretary-General's personal envoy to Sudan. In April, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said crimes against humanity may have been committed in Darfur and has since expressed grave concern about the ongoing fighting.
I think we need to have a conversation around the moral and political responsibility at the same time, because you can't come forward saying you stand with the people of Sudan and continue to express your solidarity, but in terms of action, when people need it, you're not going forward with that.
Osman says the international community must work together to end the crisis, bringing those responsible to account, aside from implementing an embargo.
I think bringing Darfur and the situation in Sudan to the focus on the agenda, engaging with the Sudanese stakeholders, not only the political or the military elites, talking to civilian groups, talking to civil society, talking to the displaced and refugee communities.
A UN peacekeeping force that had been sent to Darfur after the 2003 genocide left the region in 2021, prompting a renewal in the targeting of Masalit and other black ethnic groups. Analysts say the civil war that began in Sudan last year has made matters worse and led to a breakdown in law and order. Henry Wilkins, VOA News.
Nigerian startup Legit Car Africa is helping individuals and businesses avoid buying or handling stolen vehicles. The digital service assists users with legitimate purchase of vehicles by collecting and presenting vehicle history data to them. More details in this next report.
The story behind Legit Car Africa began in 2017. This Nigerian tech startup is aiming to solve the problem of vehicle theft and improve the car buying process for both individuals and businesses.
It was in 2017. I wanted to buy the car I currently use. I saw a car I liked. The price was fantastic. But then when I tried to confirm that the vehicle was not stolen from someone else, there was no way to do that, and that surprised me because I never believed there's no fast and reliable way to be sure you're not buying a vehicle that will get you into trouble.
And although the country's car market size, especially for used vehicles also known as tokumbo, is high, there isn't enough reliable vehicle data for buyers to work with when making transactions.
When we started Legit Car, it was about enabling car buyers not fall into the problem of buying vehicles that have been stolen from other people. But then we quickly moved on from there. We moved on to become a vehicle data company, meaning that our data is used for vehicle purchase, for vehicle insurance, even for law enforcement. And it was big because we started reaching out to organizations who had this data in bits and pieces. We started talking to law enforcement. We started talking to insurance companies. We started talking to people who have lost vehicles. We started talking to vehicle recovery companies. So today we have about 2,000 of that. At some point we had just 10. Of course, we started with 1. So the journey from 1 to 10 to 500 to 2,000 was a very, very long and difficult journey.
But beyond providing vehicle data, they are also leveraging artificial intelligence, AI, to assess the physical condition and value of a vehicle. This removes the need for physical inspections during the insurance underwriting process.
But the ones with the red color notes shows that we need to check these things.
By providing data solutions and enhancing the vehicle purchase process, the startup is ensuring that car buyers are well informed during transactions, which in turn paves the way for a secure and efficient used car market.
A 2023 Transparency International report found that most African nations have shown little progress in the fight against government corruption. Civil society groups in Ghana, however, are taking up the challenge to expose corruption and push for action. Asa Kaleti has more from the capital, Accra.
These Ghanaian journalists work for the Fourth Estate, an Accra-based non-profit public interest and accountability investigative journalism project by the Media Foundation for West Africa.
We work with Ghanaians, we work with whistleblowers who give us information. And so we look at issues and we go deep into those issues. We bring them out in forms of publications, online write-ups and YouTube videos and all that, mainstream documentaries.
Since its launch in 2021, the Fourth Estate has published several anti-graft stories, including an expose on how many public officials were failing to follow a 1998 law requiring them to declare their assets.
And when we published the story, very quickly they declared their assets, and we thought that that was impactful and it sent the right message to authorities and to public officials.
A 2023 report by the anti-corruption group Transparency International says most African countries are failing to make progress against corruption. And Ghanaian activists say their country too isn't doing enough to stop the problem.
There are so many gaps within the system that we haven't paid attention to, and for that matter, it makes the fight against corruption a difficult one.
Some of those gaps include weak laws that hinder the investigation and prosecution of corrupt public officials. Civil society groups like the Ghana Center for Democratic Development are filling the gap. In 2017, the center launched the Corruption Watch project.
We are able to do original investigations. We have actual investigative journalists as part of the team that do their investigation, but we also try to follow up on cases that are alive or cases that we feel have been buried.
Both as anti-corruption and governance experts and think tanks, a lot of work has been done. We have shown evidence of research that corruption is an issue and it is hydra-headed, and to fight it we need serious commitments.
Activists say that while they will continue to seek evidence of corruption, the government must begin holding corrupt public officials accountable through the justice system. Isaac Kaleji, VOA News, Accra.
The Lagos State government has confirmed that 12,000 feminine products have been distributed to help girls manage their menstrual hygiene. The State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Cecilia Dada, said the government will continue to provide them with the tools and knowledge they always need.
In celebration of the 2024 World Menstrual Hygiene Day, the Lagos State Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation visits some markets in Lagos to distribute female hygiene commodities for women and young girls. From the market, the team moves to riverine communities in Agboyi and Ilaje to share female hygiene commodities to women in the area.
How we advise during the period that we should take plenty of vegetables, we should take plenty of fruits, and a lot of water. When you're on your period, especially for ladies that experience cramps, you take a lot of hot teas. Even if you don't have to, you can just put a lip tea or in hot water and sip it. You will see that your blood will flow better. And it's not only for people that have cramps. It's also good for all women, actually.
The State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation says government will continue to provide necessary items for women and girls to protect their mental health status.
How we must work together to break taboos, beliefs, and silence surrounding menstruation, period, reliable and afford menstrual products to those in need, and ensure that every female has the knowledge and resource to manage their menstruation in a safe and hygienic manner.
Women and girls have been asked to protect themselves at all times and practice menstrual hygiene for their own well-being.
Government-run school in Cameroon's capital is teaching students how to manufacture plant-based meat, an innovation which the school's director hopes will contribute to the fight against climate change. And Zokyo has more from Yaoundé in this report, narrated by Moki Edwin Kinteka.
On this day at the Women's Training Center of Yaoundé 6, students and their guests are eating soy meat, a vegetable-based product. It was made on site by Marie-Noël Abena, the director of the government-run vocational school.
If a part of the population consumes plant-based meats produced from soy, it will contribute in our way to the fight against climate change.
Scientists say the production of meat, especially beef, is a big driver of global warming. Cows produce methane, a potent greenhouse gas, and when forests are cleared to make way for grazing land, carbon dioxide is released into the air. To combat the problem, Abena decided to teach the manufacture of soy-based meat. It begins with clearing and washing the soybeans. Abena and the students create a soy paste and add ingredients like carrots and parsley and other vegetables. Through the process, students also learn about the nutritional benefits of plant-based meat.
Learning how to make soy meat will allow me to help people who naturally do not eat animal meat. They will have an option, which is to eat soy meat, which is said to have several nutrients.
The soy paste is left to rest for about an hour and can then be cooked like any other meat. Officials with the Ministry of Environment tout the benefits.
Ce qui est important ici, c'est de limiter les émissions. C'est ça l'objectif final. C'est l'un des credos de la lutte contre les changements climatiques.
What is important here is to limit emissions. This is one of the credos of the fight against climate change. It is necessary to make the comparison between what the meat production process brings in terms of carbon footprint and what soy, considered as an alternative, could also impact in terms of greenhouse gas emissions.
Donc c'est cette lecture qui pour moi semble importante.
Climate scientists say eating more plants and fewer animals is among the simplest, cheapest, and most readily available ways for people to reduce their impact on the environment. As for the soy meat products, they have found an audience in Yaoundé. Until now, people have bought soya to make porridge for babies. Now, plant-based meat is becoming part of local eating habits. For Anne Zwanke in Yaoundé, Cameroon, Moki, Edwin Kinzeka for VOA News.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. To remember, channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Joker Rogers. Thanks for watching and goodbye.